What's up, everyone? I'm James Lynch, and this is What Is Next, the show where I take a look at what should be next matchmaking-wise for fighters on a recent UFC card, trying out something new here on the channel. But before I get into today's video, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. Okay, so I'm not going to go through every fight on this card, or every fighter, I should say, every winner, but I do want to talk about some matchups that I think make sense. And if you've watched my recap shows, you probably already know the answers to these already, but figure I'll go a little more in depth. So let's start first with Islam Makhachev, retaining his lightweight title last night against, the time we're recording this, against Alex Volkanovski. Very close fight. I had Islam winning 3-2 on the scorecards, gave him rounds 1, rounds 2, and round 4. I thought he won there. The fight to make next, there's been a lot of speculation. Obviously he's not going to be able to fight right away because he's got Ramadan coming up, so he'll be out for a bit. But to me, and I've been saying this a lot, the fight to make for Islam Makhachev next is Beneil Dariush. Come on, they got to make this right. I know there's some rumblings at the time we're recording this, or I'm recording this, about him fighting Charles Oliveira. He should not need to fight Charles Oliveira. Let's go back and look at the fact that Dariush was supposed to fight Islam back in February of last year. He ended up getting an injury, and we all know what happened after that. Makhachev ended up getting a short notice opponent, and then ended up shortly after that getting the title shot. This was a fight that was going to determine who was going to be the next title challenger. Instead, Dariush had to fight Mateusz Gamrot, who's a very good fighter, very, very exceptional fighter, and defeated him. That is enough for him to get a title shot in my books. You look at the win streak here, has not lost since that Alexander Hernandez fight way back in 2018, which, by the way, was on short notice. And I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not pretty sure, I know for a fact that if they were to rematch right now, Dariush wins that fight, no problem. So this is a guy who's on a really good winning streak. Maybe not the best competition along the way, although Drew Dober, Thiago Moises, those wins have aged quite well, but he deserves this shot. And whether you think Islam is going to, dominate him or not, that's aside the point. Just off merit right now, Beneil Dariush should be getting the next title shot, in my opinion. And again, if Islam's got to take part in Ramadan, then, maybe you do this fight in the fall. I'm sure Dariush would wait out a little bit longer for a title shot. I know he wants to be more active, but to me, that is the right call. He should not have to fight Charles Oliveira. So then you ask, where does that leave Charles Oliveira? Why not give him Arman Tsarukyan? I think that's the fight. Arman's done more than enough to get a top 5 opponent. Charles is out there. I think you do Charles and Arman. I know some people might not want to see Arman to potentially lose another fight here, but this is what you got to do. To me, Beneil has done more than enough to deserve this shot. As far as an early pick on this fight, let's do a quick tail of the tape. 31 years old for Islam, 5'10" with a 70.5 inch reach, taking on Dariush, who's 5'10" with a 72 inch reach. So you'll see there, Islam is actually going to be at a reach disadvantage against Beneil, and they're close to the same age, which is pretty cool. I would obviously go Islam to win. I would say maybe a later finish. We'll see. I really do think Islam does finish most of the lightweights in the division. I would probably go Islam, maybe 3rd or 4th round finish over Beneil Dariush. But I just think the grappling, the wrestling, like again, Gamrot's a very good wrestler, but Islam's another level. I think he would go out there and get a finish over Beneil Dariush. So that is my first fight of what is next, or who is next. I forget what I said off the top. I'm still trying to name this thing. Okay, Volkanovski. I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen next with Volkanovski. He's going to fight Yair Rodriguez. Quick tail of the tape on that. Volkanovski, you can see there, 34 years old, 5'6" with a 71 inch reach, taking on Yair Rodriguez, who's 30 years old, 5'11" with a 71 inch reach. Surprise, surprise. Volkanovski is going to be the smaller fighter in terms of the height, but that's nothing new for him. And he performed quite well last night against Islam Makhachev, so no big deal there. Rodriguez winning the interim title, of course, defeating Josh Emmett. Very good performance, handing Josh Emmett the first submission loss of his career. Yair was dominant in that fight, but I do want to point out the fact that I just think that Volkanovski's leaps and bounds better than Josh Emmett, in my opinion. And you got to look at the fact that Josh Emmett taking a lot of damage, not very active, really only had 1 or 2 ways to win that fight, with Yair being the, not trying to knock him out with his knockout power, or the wrestling. And neither of those really mattered because Yair was able to take those shots, and he ended up submitting Josh in the second round. There's some rumblings about Emmett having an injury. Regardless, I still think Volk is just, a lot better than Josh Emmett. And I like Josh a lot. I just think that Volkanovski is going to be a lot better. And for that exact reason, I think Volkanovski wins that fight. I think he'll win a decision against Yair Rodriguez. Rodriguez, very tough to take out, very tough to finish. I just think Volkanovski's movement, just his overall skill set, is better than Yair's. Yair's got really unique striking. He could certainly surprise some people from that perspective. Remember the Max Holloway fight, very interesting. But I think in general, Volkanovski likely takes a decision. I don't think he'd finish Yair, but I think at the very least, he would get a decision in that one. Do they do that in Mexico City? Maybe do him and then Moreno and Pantoja as a co-main event or something. I don't know. But yeah, I would say do that fight probably late summer, fall. Give Volkanovski some time off. Obviously, really tough training camp for Islam. But that's a fight I definitely want to see. And I mean, that's obvious. I don't think I'm, revealing any crazy secrets here about Volkanovski fighting Yair Rodriguez. Okay. Last fighter we're going to talk about here today. And again, I could go through the entire card, but for these videos, I'm mainly just going to focus on like bigger names or more important fighters, so to speak. And nothing against the other guys on the card, but that's just the way I want to do this. I don't want this to be too long of a video. Jack Della Maddalena totally impressed me last night. First round finish over Randy Brown. First submission loss for Randy Brown since 2016. Very, very, very impressive victory. But Jack needs a ranked opponent now. We've seen enough. That's, you know, a number of 4 first round finishes now in the UFC. He deserves a step up. You're looking at the rankings right now. There's 2 opponents in mind. One of them is Michelle Pereira, who's supposed to fight Sean Brady, but I want to go even higher than that. I want to see how high he can go. To me, if you are finishing your opponents that dominantly, I don't think the rankings should matter as much as, say, someone else. So if you look at it there, Pereira's 14. Let's go a little bit higher than that. A lot of these guys are already booked up. Let's go all the way to Vicente Luque. That is the fight. I know Jack Della Maddalena called out that fight as well. I think that fight makes a ton of sense, and I'll explain why in a second. To me, what are you getting with Luque now? 29-1. He's not close to a title shot. He was finished in his last fight by Jeff Neal. He lost to Bilal Muhammad before that. I'm not totally writing off Vicente Luque, but he needs a resurgence here. And why not do that against one of the hottest prospects in the weight class in Jack Della Maddalena? And you look at their age here, 31 years old, and you look at Jack Della Maddalena, he is 26, so a bit of an age gap there, but the height and reach, 5'11 with a 73-inch reach compared to Luque, who is 5'11 with a 76-inch reach. So Luque will have the advantage in terms of the reach, and Luque has fought better opposition. I think it's, you know, clear as day that that's there. So that's why I think it's a good test here. Did Luque have an off night against Jeff Neal, or are we starting to see a decline of Luque at, you know, 31 years of age? He has taken a lot of damage in his career. That's one thing Jack hasn't. So that's where it's very interesting. Honestly, if I'm picking right now, and again, these are all fights I will do for early looks. If you want a more in-depth preview, just wait a couple weeks. I'll go in more in depth on this. But my early pick on this would be Jack Della Maddalena. I'm a believer now. I know people weren't that high on Randy Brown. I thought the odds should be closer. Jack went out there and had a, you know, A+ performance. So to me, I just think he's dangerous. I think he's got that it factor for the weight class. And if he goes out there and finishes Luque, then we got to start having those conversations about him fighting close to the top 5. We're seriously seeing that fast track with Jack Della Maddalena and what he's been able to accomplish. And I was just so impressed with his win last night. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for Jack. Probably second round knockout, kind of like what happened with the Jeff Neal fight. See something similar. Oh, that was a third round knockout. So maybe third round then. We'll see. But either way, I see Jack getting the finish potentially by knockout in this fight. Because again, Luque's taken a ton of damage, and I kind of lean that way as well. So couple things. I want to know what you guys first think of this concept. You guys like this video style? Short video, pick a couple fights, talk about what's next, give my early pick on those potential fights. What do you think of that? That's the first thing. Second thing, who do you like in these fights? Second thing, I should say, do you like these matchups? Do you think they make sense? I mean, forget about Volkanovski, Rodriguez. Do you like Islam and Dariush, and do you like Jack Della Maddalena and Luque? Let me know about that. Third thing is, do you like the format of this? That would be my other question. Do you like how long it is? Would you like it longer? Would you like it shorter? Let me know what you think. If there's anything you want me to add, I'm just trying to do new stuff here on this channel, trying to create new content to give you guys some more variety on the channel. So trying out a couple different things. Again, this will be available early to the Patreon members, and then to everyone else, it'll be available later in the week. So make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell on this video if you liked it. I really appreciate that. My name is James Lynch. I'll see you guys next time, and thanks so much for watching.